Welcome to the second episode of the Mustang cross-country journey, where I find out if it's a good idea to ditch your daily. In today's episode, we'll find out numerous things, like if you should sleep in the back of a 90s coupe, can the notoriously slow SN95 Mustang beat the affordable benchmark Roadster in a drag race, and how does the ride quality of an aftermarket suspension stack up to the best-selling car in Florida. So right now we're on our way out to New Mexico and Colorado, where my producer has a challenge or two set up for me to both test out the livability and the performance of the Mustang here. Currently we're in kind of the middle of nowhere, Texas, and I'm 1,000 miles away from home in a car that doesn't have a working check engine light. So really I'm almost banking on nothing going wrong, and I have basic hand tools to help me set things right if it does. But to keep with the theme of my life, I'm going to ignore these problems and press on. So we've already found out that this is actually more fuel efficient than you might expect, getting up to 29 miles to the gallon if you're easy on it. And your spine can survive a racing seat for many, many hours. Plus, so long as you have sound-canceling earbuds, the exhaust drone here isn't too much of a problem. But currently I got about 7 hours left in my drive, and I think I'm going to stop in Amarillo for a shower at a Planet Fitness. This is a huge tip for anybody wanting to travel long distances, kind of like what I'm doing right now. If you're worried about taking showers, you can do them at truck stops, but that's $10 to $15 per shower sometimes. So what I recommend, get a Planet Fitness membership. And I mean, even if you only have it for a month or two, it's $23 a month, and you can shower at any location, the many thousands out there in the United States. And hey, save some money and also maybe work out while you're, And also, working out while you're traveling definitely makes you feel a lot better about yourself for eating road food all the time. Yesterday, my diet consisted purely of ribs, brisket, and beans, so my insides feel gooey and I'm extremely thirsty all the time. So a quick workout and shower doesn't sound that bad. However, it does mean that I'm going to be setting up camp at night. Again, except this time I'm doing it at more of a remote campground. I'm really dreading the day when I'm going to have to sleep in this thing, and I'm sure it's going to happen at some point in the next 2 weeks. And before I let voiceover me take over, I would really like to again thank everyone that's subscribed, that's watching these videos. It means a lot to me because this is something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. I love making reviews, but I really want to branch out and do other things. But usually these types of videos don't get very much traction. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and help me do this again in the future. If you really like this content, subscribe to my Patreon, where I have 3 different tiers of membership with various benefits, ranging anywhere from just a simple exclusive group chat to even one-on-one phone calls. As the miles rack up on my phone and the odometer continues to not work, I pass through endless small towns and barren roads that remind me of how lonely rural Texas truly is. Texas is home to 13 million cattle and twice the registered guns of any other state. After a few hours, this setting made me feel like a cowboy, which meant I gained the confidence for a triple-digit cruise in a car put together by my dumbass and someone making $8 an hour in the 90s. After disengaging Lightspeed, I arrived in Amarillo rapidly for a quick workout and shower, and then I went off the grid to a picnic spot to sleep for the night near the New Mexico border. This one is quite a bit more remote. I have no cell signal, but I've been keeping track of where I do have cell signal, and that's about a couple miles south of here. There's at least a single van in here, a single white van. That's a good sign, right? I'm probably spooking the out of them. They have a nice little overlanding van, and then a 96 Mustang with no exhaust rolls up. Oh man, yeah, they must think they're about to get sliced and diced. Okay, all right.
I entirely doubt that anybody will be able to see this, but man,
Setting up camp that night was a cold but quick process. Sleeping was a little more eerie, with my rainfly waking me up through slapping the tent in the middle of the night. My initial response of, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" proved to be ineffective against the culprit since it was just wind. But the coyotes howling didn't exactly ease my mind out there, especially since coyotes manage to kill over 100,000 cattle every year in the US alone, and I'm a little smaller than the average heifer. Still, my exhaustion made it easy to fall asleep.
That's a weird sounding bird.
After fumbling with the sleeping bag again, making more oatmeal, and observing just how low the Mustang exhaust is, I set out once again on my journey, this time to Horseshoe Crater in New Mexico. Before I made it there, the Mustang and I saw our first bit of snow as we climbed up in elevation. I also impeded on a cattle dog's territory and picked up a little snake souvenir for my girlfriend. Once I arrived, I realized this was the dumbest thing I had done on this trip so far. I am like 1,500 miles from home. In a car with an unknown amount of miles and has been abused for its whole life. All right, change of plans because that kind of looks like private property as f***. To avoid getting shot, I think that we are gonna check out this. This seems like the place of any places to get bitten by a rattlesnake. But man, at least I'll be able to hear it coming, hopefully. It's just so quiet. Also, I'm already out of breath because I'm kind of like getting over allergies. And it's high elevation. It's starting to get a little rocky. And there's hella bugs. That was not a bug. Oh, that's shit. Still kind of far though. King of the castle, king of the castle. After admiring the view and the silence for a moment, I hiked back down to the car, where I found out by two friendly men in a Silverado this was indeed private property. Once they verified that I wasn't a poacher looking for antelope, we both went our separate ways. Once I got out of the rocky gravel road, the rough ride became a non-issue, and really, the roads out in New Mexico were largely smooth and pleasant. And while the Mustang is loud with no cruise control, it at least has air conditioning. We then went to the mountains, where I got my first glimpse of what looked to be fire damage, and encountered more snow despite it being 65 and sunny. That's what the high elevation life is like from what I've gathered. Unfortunately, I was near the beautiful city of Taos but didn't go there because, well, I don't know. But Questa was pretty cool, as was the Rio Grande del Norte Park where I was supposed to camp. But the visitor center was closed and I decided to head back to a place I saw in the mountains. On this quick back road jaunt, I stopped near one of the many thousands of places with bear in the name. This one was particularly gorgeous though. What was so cool about it was just how close I could get and how deserted the area felt, the latter of which quickly began to concern me as the Mustang brought me back to reality. Our first light came on, and that would be low oil, which has never come on before, but also I've never driven it 2,000 miles or so. Or maybe this is a new thing. Maybe it's leaking. The good thing is our temperature is still reasonable, and our oil pressure hasn't changed. Now with the oil crisis taken care of and my heartbeat back to a somewhat normal rate, let's try to find a place to stay tonight. Now, so far it's been an awesome day. I mean, I've driven on some absolutely amazing roads. I got to see a couple cool places, got kicked out of that one. And it's only 3:30, so I might go back and try to finish editing a video that I need to release this upcoming Saturday, which is actually a draggy time trial comparison between the Subaru Outback XT, and Subaru Outback with the 3.6 liter from the previous gen. After an hour, I found probably the most peaceful place to edit a video and camp, but I came to a devastating realization quickly. We're sleeping in the Mustang tonight, so I actually could definitely set up the tent right now. However, I really need to get out of this place as early as I can tomorrow, so it would be in my best interest to not have to tear down everything in the morning like I have been doing. Also, I think this would be a really good test for the Mustang because, a lot of people will do van life or buy an overpriced Toyota Tacoma with a rusty frame and, put the little cap on the back like an idiot. But if the whole point of this series is to really explore how capable, your weekend car can be and what its limits are in terms of practicality and even road trip use, this is kind of necessary, so consider it science. With the cozy setup complete and the water boiled, I ate the most heinous batch of mac and cheese I have ever conjured. It tasted like cheese-flavored coins with the texture of raw beef. As I hold my breath and scarf down the macteria, I begin to realize some of the things I take for granted. Not just McDonald's, but the day-to-day stuff. The typical conversations I have with friends about the videos we've seen recently. Our plans for the near future, or that weird roommate. The mundane. After a couple phone calls, I feel a little less lonesome and try to turn in for the night.
Okay, sorry, I'm probably kind of lit up like I'm telling a campfire story, but
This is overall just the most out of left field, really hard to explain. I mean, it's not like the most strange thing I've done, it's just like thinking to it now, like solo trip, 2.5 weeks, and now I'm sleeping on the inside of my Mustang. How did we get to this point, Well, here we are.
this pass-through is not adult male sized. Alright, the trunk should be shut. Really, the ultimate goal of any camping trip is to not become the plot of a horror movie. Okay. Alright. Good night. Okay. That was definitely top 5 most uncomfortable sleeping arrangements I've ever had. Well, I guess I managed to sleep.
The main issue came down to the lack of mobility and uneven surfaces, and the cold, and the endless bashing myself into the trunk pass-through. I very quickly threw everything from the front seat to the back and went on my way. Since I left around 6 a.m., I got up in time to catch the sunrise, and it might have been the most intrinsic one I've ever seen. The drive from Caysta to Boulder, Colorado is a painless one, full of great views and cool mountain towns. Once I crossed into Colorado, the wind began to pick up and cops began to litter the streets. So why Boulder, Colorado? Well, my producer and I have planned a special drag race with a nice little Mazda owned by Jordan, a friendly fellow car reviewer that I had a 20-minute conversation with at the Chicago Auto Show. And that is the full extent of our friendship at this point. As we get closer to the Denver area, the elevation actually decreases some, and the Mustang began to develop a mysterious squeak. But I was in a time crunch to get to the challenge, so I had to ignore it.
So far we've proved that the SN95 Mustang is surprisingly practical, and you can sleep in it if you have a back of steel. However, when you're looking into a vehicle that's going to be a project car, something for fun purposes and not much else, you usually want speed, and so today I'm going to put it against the benchmark, the NC Miata.
But I don't mean benchmark in the traditional sense. No, the NC MX-5 Miata is accepted as the starting point of fast enough. Winning this race will mean the 2-valve Mustang GT can earn that title too. On paper, these two have nearly identical power-to-weight ratios since this Mazda comes with the power retractable hardtop.
This will be very interesting because I've owned a Mustang and a Miata at the same time. Never drag raced them.
First, we'll do a sound test. We'll at least win that.
He has me in decibels.
The key to this is not losing, because I don't think the Mustang bros will be able to take this one.
I have traction control fully off, DSC off, and full electronic stabilization, whatever it's called. It's all off.
Don't let me down now, Mustang.
This wasn't planned, by the way.
Sorry for the exaggerated response there. I was just expecting a different outcome.
That was great.
And she didn't blow up! Yeah.
I think a rock hit me, like from outside. That's how I knew I lost, because the guy who's in front on this drag course throws rocks at the other guy. It's like rubbing in your face. I thought I had him at first.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
And then displacement started coming into factor and I lost.
Breaking it down. So what exactly happened? I definitely could have gotten off the line quicker. You can tell that I've never drag raced before, but the shifts were clean and the torque was immense. The Mustang might only have 215 horsepower and weigh 3,300 pounds, but it packs 285 pound-feet of torque. In other words, even right after I shift, the Mustang still makes a ton of power, whereas the Mazda really needs to rely on revving it out. By the end of the quarter-mile run, the Mustang was about 2 car lengths ahead. This was all pretty impromptu. I was originally just planning a 0 to 60 draggy test, so we didn't get all of the angles here, but I really need to thank Kyle with Out of Spec Reviews for giving us the chance to run the cars on the runway today. They make a lot of EV content, but also feature internal combustion and enthusiast cars too. After filming, Kyle, who I met today, was super welcoming, and I want to thank him for showing me the area and having me on his podcast too. I also want to thank Jordan and his trusty Miata for taking on the Mustang. This was one of the biggest highlights of my trip, and it wouldn't have happened without him. You can also find Jordan amongst the out of spec content, so don't only follow them, but thank them for me too. And I look forward to hopefully making some content with them in the future whenever I can. I'm also just ecstatic that the Mustang, actually won the race. I really wasn't expecting that, mainly because these cars are just known to lose. However, it's time to do a little maintenance. There's a squeak coming from this, and that's been happening for a few days now. It's been intermittent, and initially I thought, oh, okay, it's just, the serpentine belt. This has a timing chain. I'll take care of it later when I can. However, I just listened a little bit more closely with the hood up, and it kind of sounds like it's not coming from the belt. It could be pressure plate flywheel related. I just want to hear from someone that knows what this issue is and can tell me whether or not it would be a bad idea to take it out into the desert like I'm going to do tomorrow. The good news is it still runs really strong, and my, temperature gauge has been fine. My oil pressure has been fine. Update, I'm at the same stoplight, and I think I figured it out. The very moment my foot touches the clutch, it goes away. This makes me think throwout bearing or input shaft bearing, so I'll just stand by cautiously here. When peeking under the hood to try to confirm it wasn't the serpentine, I noticed part of the AC compressor clutch was missing, which would probably explain why my AC, the one luxury of the Mustang, wasn't functioning anymore. It's not supposed to look like that. I'm gonna slap this one on there, but they didn't have the OE bolt for it, so I found one, and it's a little bit too long, and I just put a nut on the other side. And here's where people are probably gonna be crying, no, don't do this, like you're messing it up, I know. So with my new pulley plate, I replaced the old washers that were stuck on the compressor and tried to install it. I ended up removing that second nut that I was using as a spacer, as it didn't help. If I tighten it anymore, then it presses it out. So it's pretty much at its maximum depth there. I guess I was a little delusional for thinking that would actually work. My emergency fix confidence is back to its dangerously low level. I am still here in beautiful Boulder, Colorado, but I'm heading over to meet up with Van, an old friend of mine, and we're gonna do another Mustang test, except this time it's not gonna be as much of a toll on the old. Really shouldn't check this while driving, but yeah, what do you need? Fine. All right, so my producer just called. While this challenge might not be a pain to the Mustang, it probably is gonna hurt me. Here's the premise. It's going to be a smooth suspension test, or really just a smooth driving test. Van has a 2012 Toyota Corolla, a pretty good daily driver car, and most likely more comfortable than my Mustang here with an aftermarket suspension. Now, to put this to the test, I've made a very sophisticated contraption to measure how much the cabin is jostled while we're driving. And, well, whoever loses more water ends up losing the challenge. However, the more water that her car keeps than mine, the more extremely hot chips that I have to eat. And if I'm going to be completely candid, hot Cheetos can sometimes give me a run for my money. Oh, please don't. Okay, there we go.
Oh gosh.
All right, so we'll go down this road first because this is the easiest.
Well, this is the road. This is Van's Drive.
Oh,
So
okay.
It's probably loops.
This is Van. We're going to test back-to-back Mustang and her 2012 Toyota Corolla.
X.
S.
This is the road.
This is the road. Oh, this will be good. Ooh,
Oh
I don't
gosh.
know.
That's what I was saying. We have those like drain things that are a bitch to go over.
Quite the bitch. I'm going to try to drive as smooth as possible here because we have a lot on the line since I cannot handle spicy food.
Me neither. I'll probably cry.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
This is you trying to drive smooth.
I might also get lost. We haven't lost all that much water. We definitely lost some. I remember where we've gone so far, but I don't know where we are. Like, I remember like which ways I've gone.
Should we have mapped it?
Probably, yeah. That might have done it.
Should we try again? Oh wait.
No,
Okay.
okay. Wait, that's Vance.
That's the. No, wait. That's not where we. pulled
Okay,
in.
this is where we originally turned in. But although we do need to go to the gas station. Whenever this gets below a quarter tank, it is danger zone.
Well, that one's like 389.
What?
That safe was only 389.
Oh, damn. Well,
There's probably another one.
yeah.
What was that? Oh no!
The good thing was that this happened near the end of the loop, so we pulled into the gas station for the results. This is a half cup, so that's 4 ounces. We're basically going to see how much water it takes to bring it back up.
More?
Okay, yeah, definitely more. Alright, that's good. So it ended up needing 6 ounces to replace what was lost. Now for the Corolla. Okay.
I feel like that was one of the worst parts. I don't want to eat hot chip.
Well, so far so good. We got to keep on the right side. We'll take the same lines as we did.
I'm so nervous.
I remember we went over those things, and we went straight over this.
Oh.
That's the biggest one. Right there.
Oh no.
I think that's what that
Turn
is.
left?
Yes.
Okay.
So I remember that car.
Probably should have mapped.
Oh, I probably should put this up here instead of in my garage. Oh man, it is nice though to drive or like ride in a car that's got like seats, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Okay, which way? I feel like this way?
Yeah,
Okay.
left, definitely, probably. Okay,
Oh gosh, that was rough.
this is turning out to be more of a challenge on like memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did there. Yeah, 78th. I remember 78th. And that looks like Vance down there. I can fix it in post. We'll just edit it. We'll just have you turning around the corner.
Did you say my suspension's worse than you thought it was going to be?
It was more firm. I don't think that's necessarily worse. It helps it handle a little bit better. Maybe part of the S package. Who knows? A little abrupt braking. That might cost you. Smooth pull in here. Can you stick the landing? I don't want people to think that we're fibbing it, but that is a lot left. Like, I'm surprised. Okay. Okay. Keep going and stop. We'll call it, I mean, there's a little bit left in there. There's really not much.
3 hot chips.
All right, 3 hot chips. All right. After the official review, it seems like I need to eat 4 hot chips. So I went in and bought a bag of ghost pepper chips that people claim are extremely toasty. All right, torture time. If this is like truly super spicy, I can't imagine why someone would be like just casually get a whole bag, you know? Okay, it doesn't actually smell that Oh my god. We'll give it a second. The initial taste. Oh no. Okay, no, never mind. I might try the pickled jalapeno.
2 chips and 1 pickled jalapeno.
That sounds like a fair deal. Okay, I think it'd be best to just go faster. So far, so good. These aren't very, like, good. Like, they don't taste good. All right, this is starting to hit a little bit. Oh, that's large. This is chipotle peppers and adobo sauce, but it's jalapeno to be specific.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so I'm starting to cry from the chips.
It is gonna be spicy.
Okay. Single bite, or do you think, like...
Whole thing.
Whole thing? Okay. Okay. We're doing good. No, I bit into it. Okay. We're getting a little bit there. It's not as bad as I was thinking. You know, I was thinking that it'd be complete, like, just debilitating. We're already... Oh, wait, no. Like, every time I get, like, a little bit more confidence, I'm like, okay, we're doing good. Then it's like, ooh, there's another tier. See, I've always wanted... I was telling her, I've always wanted to be able to, like, eat spicy things. Because, like, sometimes I'm eating something like, this is really good, but, like, I can't continue. Yeah. Alright, we'll chew on it for a second. Savor it. It does kind of taste good.
Oh yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, my mouth is kind of numb. Yeah, we just got a little bit of tears going. Okay, you know. Despite her Corolla dealing the Mustang a humiliating loss, I'd like to thank Van for contributing to real science here. After sacrificing my mouth and stomach for the Mustang's sins, it's time to reflect back on this part of the journey. I got to see some real special places. The road started to take a toll on the Mustang. I got to see an old friend and make some new ones too. We got to learn that a cheap Ford is still quick enough for entertainment, but it is nowhere near as comfortable as your average commuter car, even if said car has the track-ready S package. So I thought here would be a great place to just wrap up the series and just take it.
I'm trying to get like you.
Yeah. Bro, I'm not going to the desert. Okay, my producer just called. It seems like we're going to the desert. And apparently the Bonneville Salt Flats, to be specific. So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to 1, subscribe and hit the bell, but also if you could share this among your car enthusiast friends, that would be awesome. Once again, these aren't the types of videos that I typically make, so the YouTube algorithm is not really going to help me here. So I need all of your support. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you here soon.